story is about a guy that sleeps with a girl without she knowing it. So they have also always the problem that when she will discover what will happen. The theme that I think many people that saw the movie don't see the theme is about search of truth, and she always says the truth no matter the consequences. For me, it's natural that a movie has more than just one line story, you know. Initially, the first version of the screenplay was not supposed to be me directing it, so it was someone asked me to write a movie that all take place in one house with maximum 10 characters. So the first version of the movie, it took place in one day, one night and the next day, and just 10 characters, so only the main story of this movie was in it. So when I decided to do it, I decided that I didn't want a movie that looked like an independent, although it is. So I had to have much more characters, much more situations. So that's why I created other situations, so the movie would be more complete and doesn't have this look of an independent movie that is just 2 or 3 persons talking with each other. When someone asked me about to write this movie that would all take place in one house, I wrote the first screenplay in 4 days. So the person asked me to write this movie. It was a teacher in the cinema school, and I go home and say, no, a movie that all takes place in one house must be something that catches the public, so the public don't leave the theater. So the story changed in this moment that I was writing. No, now it's more complex. When I returned to the screenplay like 10 years later, I knew that I have to have another stories, so I created the story of the girl, because initially she was not the main character, he was the main character. So no, she has to have her story, a completely different story then they would cross. So I started looking for ideas for her story, so the way that I could have 2 different stories going on at the same time. Now, I studied in a cinema school for about 1 year, but I quit because I thought that they had nothing to teach me, basically, because my teacher, this one that asked me to write the first version of this movie, so we stopped classes, stopped the classes sometimes and said, Luis, if like a student make a tough question and he didn't know how to answer, he stopped and asked me. I was the student, so I think, why am I paying if I teach the teacher? If I could shoot this movie as I wanted, it would be very different in terms of if I had the money or stuff. So I could not make lots of movements with the camera. So I had to make them in the edition. So in the edition, instead of this movement, I had to make like zoom. So the movie wouldn't get very static. And I said to my actors, don't talk slowly, talk fast. In the beginning, they talk very slowly also. And I said, why do you people, like I'm talking very fast, probably more than I should, but that's how people talk. And I prefer not to have like great close-ups from the actors. I prefer to have someone there or more things to see. I don't know. I don't like these movies that you just see faces, because you should show the environment, everything, to make it more natural, you know. It depends also from what you are shooting, you know. This movie was a movie about persons, you know. The persons were the most important thing there. Not the landscape. It influences what they are and their love story. In this case, no, the environment was not important. They are the important ones, so it's more about the actors there. In December, we'll open in Portugal another feature film that I just write, but is like a normal budget film, like more than 1 million euros. So as a director, I'm not really sure that I'm going to direct another movie, because, as I used to say, if I could just write, I would not mind.